Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
4 hours and 40 minutes after the toss took place in the second qualifier, the first innings comes to an end. 203 for 6 for the Mumbai Indians in a game and an innings that you could sense and feel the stakes and tension of an IPL playoff, of a second qualifier with the place in the final up for grabs. Who holds the advantage at halftime? We find out on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Bright and shiny. Tom Moody, Varun and Dustin Silgardo. Varun's just had a Red Bull as well right now. So he almost did, but he's kept it in the deep freeze. Let's find out if 203 means advantage MI. Tom?
I think slight advantage. I think that 200 mark's quite a significant mark psychologically as much as anything else. It doesn't appear to be too many demons in this surface, not a massive amount of turn. There was a little bit of swing, interesting enough, early on with the new ball. So, look out Trent Bolt, when he gets that new ball in his hand, because I think he'll use it a lot better than what Arshdeep did. Okay, fair enough. In that first 2-over spell that he had in the power play. I'm going to probe some of those points on how the surface looks, plans of bowling, choices of bowling, but same question to you, Varun. Advantage MI or game in the balance?
For sure, advantage MI, maybe 15 runs too many. Because I thought the Kings bowlers had it together at different points of the innings, but then just poor execution, or in some cases, they were trying to outsmart the batsman way too much and didn't have the field to do that, and they see themselves maybe 15 runs extra. Very interesting. It's a strange innings where I don't think, Dustin, if you look back at it, I'm sure you will, that there was a huge burst in any period. It's like a game that's gone in 10 and over for the entire 1 to 20.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was the pitch or that the bowlers did a decent job. There were a lot of balls that were short or short of a length. Most of them cutters, some cross seam. MI seem to have been pretty aggressive. We've recorded 64 aggressive shots that they've played. Okay. But only controlled 31 of those. So less than 50% control rate with aggressive shots. That suggests that maybe something in the wicket, Tom, or was it just decent lines and lengths from the bowlers throughout?
I think that sort of off-pace, that cutter into the surface seemed to be the bowler's friend. And you can guarantee MI would have taken that intel in from that first innings, and you'll probably see much the same. But the slower ball, when it's fuller, I still think that's a bit of a free hit. I think it's just more when it's, sort of that back of a length to nearly bouncer length, and that was very much a plan, because quite often they'd have mid-off and mid-on up, and they'd have the square field out, really just trying to force the batters to be, to hit to that square boundary, whether it be leg side or offside.
Yeah, go deeper into what really looked like Punjab's plan. There was a lot of planning for each bowler to bowl a lot of pace-off deliveries.
So, first of all, I don't think they're optimizing Omarzai, because we know he can get the ball to move both ways really well. A third over to Stoinis. Yes, Stoinis did get Rohit out, but that was by chance. Any other day, that ball could have gone 4 rows back into the stands. But Omarzai coming in that 6th over went for, I think, 14 or 17 in that 6th over. Then again, towards the end, they still left an over of Vaishak, which they didn't give it to him. Again, he's supposed to be a death bowler. Vaishak bowled well, a lot of cutters into the wicket. And Arshdeep, especially towards that back end, when he bowled, when he got hit for two fours behind square and one four straight down, he didn't have the feel for it. He bowled 2 bouncers to Dhir, who's a very good puller of the ball, which both went behind square, went to bowl bouncers again, where this was a wicket where he could have trusted his slow ball, and anyway he bowls a really good Yorker. And the moment he went Yorker, he went wide Yorker with a mid-off up. So that was just poor planning, I felt.
Tom was exactly on those lines. You could sense the slight disappointment, which I'm using on air, where I would have rather, if I was off air, said the immense anger and frustration as coach when he saw those balls. Did you sense that Punjab, while the plan was good, that a lot of the execution was strange, or some of the choices of balls, fields, choice of bowlers, Varun points out, with Stoinis not bowling Vaishak, some of that, what do you make of it?
I was a little bit surprised with Stoinis, but then again, I then thought about it and thought, well, he does play that role quite a lot with the new ball in the power play. Not at the back end of power play, but quite early in the power play, because he can get the swing early on. And I think, if anything, his deployment that early was more about sort of buying a bit of flexibility in the second half of the innings from a bowling perspective, just having one of those overs burnt, so to speak. But yeah, I was just puzzled. I quite like the idea of their tactics around the field and what have you, but it nearly seemed that the bowler lost patience with that and quite often went to nearly like a double bluff, where the field was back on the leg side, but then they'd bowl a full one just wide of off stump with mid-off up. I'm sorry, it's particularly at the back end of the innings, it's not the time to gamble.
Yep.
When you've got someone like a Dhir who's finished games particularly well over recent times.
I want to talk about Dhir before I even talk about Surya and Tilak. I think, Dustin, you mentioned what is the control percent for MI's batters today?
Yeah, less than 50% with the aggressive shots.
Yeah, but I'd be curious to see Dhir specifically, a guy who's gone at over 200 on a day where even a set Tilak and Surya at the end was striking between 150 and 170. And it wasn't easy to hit sixes. He's not at a single six today, Dhir. But the impact potentially of that innings when he came in at a tough time too. Varun?
First of all, he didn't play too much spin, so that was good for him. And also he played a lot of fast bowling, which was again double bluff fast bowling. They weren't bowling to their field, so he just could play according to what they were bowling to him. Especially if you want to double bluff somebody like Dhir, you double bluff him with something full, not short, because he's one of the best pullers I've seen in the league. Everything, even on an on-pace ball, he connects somewhere very in front of his face rather than somewhere here. Somebody who Ricky Ponting would see and be really happy with the way he pulls.
Yeah, 23 of 9 against Arshdeep in particular. Sorry, Dustin.
No, half the runs he scored today pretty much were from that pull shot, according to the stats. And you were asking about the control percentage that might be slightly hurt just statistically because a couple of those pulls were kind of top edge, but he kind of knew that the fine leg was up, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
like
so
it's not one where he's tried to muscle it for six.
He's guided it.
Would you still suggest that this is a player that's
100%.
displaying great game awareness, game sense?
But absolutely. But what's fine leg doing up when you're bowling short?
Yeah.
3 balls in the over.
I just puzzled.
I'm with you. I accept that point. Here I'm just looking at one of the few or the only uncapped player to now two with Raj Baba and the MI team. There's something unique about Dhir in terms of how he's playing different situations.
Yeah, I really like him as a player. I think that in a way he's wasted where he's batting.
Right.
But then again, Mumbai Indians boast such, talent up to that point. There's a strong argument he should bat in front of Hardik Pandya at this stage. To me, he seems more fluent, certainly more, acceleration from ball one. He seems freer to be able to go early. Where Hardik, there's no question he's a dangerous player. And historically, he's been a terrific player for Mumbai and India. But I think at the moment, Dhir has just got his head in front.
Yeah, I guess today they were both together at the same point, but it's an interesting one for MI. Should they make the final?
Yeah.
On form, you might as well give him the extra 8-10 balls, is what Tom's suggesting. You agree with that? Maybe the case for it?
Depends on the wicket. I would say depends on the wicket because if you see last game, Hardik's 3 sixes of the last over was crunch. So Hardik in a very crunch situation, he's already been there.
Yep.
But if a wicket like this, especially I'll take us back to the wicket against DC at Wankhede. Again, very tricky wicket where Dhir played a better innings than Hardik. So I would say if the wicket's a bit sticky and slow, Dhir before, but if it's a good flat wicket, Hardik.
And that over, I think Dhir got about 14 of Arshdeep in the 16th, was it? And that was really important because there was a phase there where Mumbai got just 8 of 10 balls after the sky wicket. Hardik looked like he was just kind of trying to wait for the back end. Then, of course, there was that sloppy moment. So they got the six all along the ground with the overthrows. And then straight after that, they got 14 runs of the next over because Dhir went after Arshdeep. So what could have been a really good phase for Punjab suddenly went against him.
But you take that lucky 6 away from Hardik's numbers, it's not that flattering. That was a real bonus for him because at that stage he was drowning in some deep water.
Yeah, as a bowler, you do tend to feel like you have more options against Hardik on a slow wicket because you can use the cutter really well.
Sure.
You can use the slow bouncer really well, which becomes a big weapon against him because he's somebody who really trusts his hand eye. If he picks up the length, he just goes hard. So that's one of those wickets where you can get Hardik.
He was 3 of 8 before the overthrows.
Yeah, if this becomes a really tight game with an 7-8 run difference, you look at that, you look at Prap Simran just letting one go as soon as he came on as an impact sub. Otherwise, Punjab caught well with the exception of the Omarzai drop of Rohit. But it seems like it's going to be a close game. I want to talk about Surya and Tilak very quickly and go into the second innings. maybe more about the individual batters, just the partnership and what it told you. It looked like it was still hard work, and yet two good batters, quality batters did well. Is it fair to say?
I would say they batted really well, especially Tilak. The moment his partner got out, he just stepped up the ante. And when Surya came in, he just didn't let Surya feel like he was under pressure. Again, Husey could have bowled a lot slower to Surya. He was bowling slower, then suddenly he went too full. The moment Surya got that lap behind square of Husey, then he looked like a much different batsman against Husey, and Husey started bowling more flatter and fuller.
What's the story of that partnership and that phase of the game for you, Tom?
Yeah, I thought it was really important. A really important partnership. Obviously, losing Rowan early. Bairstow did his thing, which was an important innings, that 38 off 24. But that just gave them some solidarity in the middle of their innings to set them up for a 200 plus.
33 of 17 today, I believe, against Chahal.
Yeah, that's the number. So striking at more than 190, whereas earlier it wasn't supposed to be a favoured matchup. Those, boundaries down the ground. I know there was some consternation about him getting out on the sweep, but then that's a shot that he usually gets runs off.
Very first ball he swept.
He's improved.
He's not worried about it.
He is improved on the matchup he put pre-game. So I'm sure those numbers will only get better from here. A lot more that I want to discuss, but it's a shortened mid-innings break given we had a full game in spite of a 9:45, and that was because a toss took place and they can cut time away from the mid-innings. So the second innings is already underway. I want to talk about Bairstow's innings too and bit of a push that they got, but right now it's all about 204 runs for Punjab Kings to make sure they don't squander the chance, the second chance of playing in the final. Let's go for the second innings. Gentlemen, predictions and perhaps key phases that would define the result.
I think Punjab are going to get to about 183, and I think the key is going to be power play with swing. I'm not going to state the obvious about Bumrah. He's always the key. He's the skeleton key. He can open anything.
Why don't you extend a little bit on that with the use with Topley in the side here on how that might see?
Yeah, no, I think they'll be quite pleased to see the ball swing, and Topley particularly will be quite pleased to see it because he, like Bolt, is another one that can swing that new ball. So it's going to be very interesting to see who takes the second over because he could hold Bumrah back now and go with Topley, which is probably more than likely going to be the scenario.
Varun.
I don't know, it's going to be a close game. Just going to back Mumbai in a close game. Bumrah last over, something.
So they win by less than 10, less than 5 maybe?
Less than 5.
Oh, that close a game, is it? All right. Dustin?
Yeah, well, Mumbai no team has ever chased a 200 plus score against Mumbai. This is the 20th time they've got there. Somehow I feel like maybe today we'll see history.
All right, Punjab to chase for Dustin. Yeah, I've brought up those numbers myself as well, that they haven't chased successfully when it's been 200 plus. And it could be just small moments like that free 6 and the Prabh Simran 4. He's already given them 4 back, Prabh Simran, because he's got off to a bit of a quickie. But yeah, I'm with Varun on this. Close game, less than 5. Let's see where we stand. Gentlemen, thank you. Tom, Varun, Dustin. We will have our IPL final ready for you when you join us at about 2 a.m. on Monday morning. So look forward to your company then. We'll be up and watching on Nexa Presents ESPN Rugen for Timeout.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.